How's everybody doing today? This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks. Appreciate everybody tuning in this Saturday. I'll come to you with a short video. I just wanted to briefly discuss Mayweather and McGregor, which is what everybody is talking about today. You know, Mayweather is set to make over $200 million. I've discussed it in a prior video, which you can check out on my channel, about Mayweather, his tax bill, and whether, you know, what this means for black wealth. And then also I have McGregor on the other side, set to make $100 million after he pays the UFC. And what I wanted to talk about today was the racial tensions that were used to actually promote this fight. Race has been used in boxing prior, and we see some of those elements here. I wanted to kind of discuss that in context of the two fighters and in context of the fight. I'm going to watch the fight. I'm going to go to the cinema with friends. I want Mayweather to win, of course. Just support him, and you know, as a boxer, I think he's done phenomenal things, but at the same time, that no one is above reproach or critique, and so we have to bring this critique so that we understand as well as he understands, if he gets a chance to see these type of videos and maybe better himself. So we look at Mayweather and McGregor, and we wonder how it came to be. You know, I look at this fight and I don't really see a reason that this fight is happening beyond the money. And so for those people that say the money is enough, I say you need to look back at boxing history. There's a reality here of what we see as white privilege, where this guy who's 0-0, albeit he's a champion in UFC, but that's not the same. He gets to fight one of the greatest fighters of all time and cash in at $100 million, largely because he brings a total white audience that will pay large dollars. You have to wonder, if John Bone Jones was smaller, would he get this fight? You also have the ability to build up the great white hope. You know, so much of what we see as far as the fervor is something that we have built into our country, particularly now around Charlottesville, which you have Mayweather and McGregor actually cashing in on. You know, a great article that I read was discussing how social justice issues are being used in commodity by brands, by celebrities. You know, we have this Black Lives Matter movement, then we have Lemonade, then we have 444 from Jay-Z, Lemonade being from Beyonce. We have this fight from Mayweather, and this fight kind of tags into that whole feeling of the black man versus the white man, and can he do it, which one will win? And you know, the undertones of how they promoted this fight kind of dealt with that as well, and I'll talk about that in a second. But there's a great article in the Chicago Tribune. I'm pulling it up now. Go check it out. Exploiting race is not new to boxing or to politics. And I'm going to share a small section. His presence on the bill also marks a curious form of affirmative action. Mayweather, 40, is black and has a 49-0 career. McGregor is white and hasn't boxed since his training days in his native Dublin. If this was a black UFC champion and Mayweather, screenwriter Ron Shelton, who wrote the '96 movie farce The Great White Hype about a similar race-based mismatch, told the Washington Post, I don't think they'd sell a ticket. Well, I'm sure they sell some tickets. Mayweather is widely considered to be the best boxer on the planet these days. And so what you see is this article kind of deals with what we're really questioning, what we're really buying. Are we buying a boxing match, or are we buying the hype of black versus white? And that's for each of us to answer. And we might not even have that as a conscious decision. It might be subconsciously inside of us. And you see this fervor of Irish people pushing for McGregor, despite the fact that this guy is 0-0. 0-0. And he's fighting one of the greatest fighters of all time. And for me, if it was inverted, you know, and I don't think it ever would have been. I don't think if Mayweather was a white man with a 49-0 record, he'd be facing a black guy that's 0-0. But if it were inverted, I would still kind of look at the records and be more. I'd probably still push for the black guy, being honest. But in a real sense, as far as saying who's gonna win the match, I'd go with the real truth of it. And you have to wonder what it takes for a white guy to be looking at this reality of who Mayweather is and still pick McGregor. It doesn't make any sense. And so, like, in this article, Exploiting Race is Not New to Boxing or to Politics, they kind of break down this dynamic of how white kind of privilege led to the McGregor ability to get this fight, the ability to bring people who buy so much merchandise, the ability to bring a whole nother market, you know, and the ability not to be black. And I think that, you know, we forget that the accomplishment that it took for Mayweather to get to this point versus the lack of accomplishment that McGregor has to still be here in the same ring as Mayweather to showcase talents that we don't know if he has. And so, you know, McGregor during the press conferences used this reference of calling Mayweather a monkey or something of sorts. He tried to play it down. We have a long history of the use of monkey in describing African Americans, and I just think that what you see is it's a question of whether that was planted inside of his statements to create more fervor, or whether he really believes that. And I guess either way, it's just horrible. And you know, it just goes to a further sense of he doesn't really deserve this fight. And like, I feel like there's a lot of other boxers who did deserve this fight that aren't going to get it, Triple G being one of them. And you know, I think that we have to look at this spectacle and wonder what comes out, and then see why we're so interested, all of us. And like, I think for our country right now, coming off of Charlottesville, coming off of Donald Trump's election to president, we have a racial tension that this fight is tapping into. And I think that for many of us, this is actually a way to kind of escape when it's not an escape at all. Recently, you have Mayweather actually saying that there's a double standard of race, and he talked about this in context of McGregor and McGregor's personality. And I have to somewhat agree with him, even though I think that for me, I believe that Mayweather largely has created a character to play on the worst parts of African American culture, to sell product to African Americans. And I think that he was kind of also forced into that post-hip-hop. I think that before Mayweather became Money May, people wasn't watching. But when he started putting money to his ear and acting like he could buy anything, what we saw is a fervor to tap into his aspiration more than watch his boxing. One of the greatest defensive tacticians in all of boxing history. And when you watch him in the ring, it doesn't really match his personality. You know, it isn't the same as watching Adrian Broner for me. You know, it feels like Adrian Broner is really a loose cannon. It feels like Mayweather, on the other hand, is playing a loose cannon when he's not in the ring. He's just, you know, I look at the Olympic Mayweather and the current Mayweather, and it feels like we're really watching kind of a character play to the worst parts of what Black America needs to be entertained. And I don't think it's healthy. You know, I would have preferred he went the other route. I don't believe he makes the money that he makes without playing this character, both from black people and white people. And so, you know, you have this statement which holds true about the double standard of race claimed by Mayweather. He's arrogant, he's cocky, he's this, he's that, he's unappreciative. Mayweather told reporters of how antics have been received, while Mayweather has exhibited similar behavior, and they praise him for it. See, I think that he does it and he gets paid, but I don't think that he does get praised for it the same way. And I think that that's a clear double standard. You know, you start to see this dynamic where McGregor comes out to the weigh-in and is very just like disrespectful, and it's kind of like applauded, because you know, we have a long history in this country about how black people were treated by white people, and I think that there's a ton of white people that actually enjoyed seeing McGregor scream at a man he should be really thanking. I believe he actually thanks him behind the cameras. I think this is all for sale, but I don't have any proof of that. But a man that he should be respecting, you see this whole like fervor of just screaming in his face and this, that, and the other, and calling him a monkey. And that's why I just still say that McGregor doesn't deserve this match, and I hope Mayweather beats the brakes off of him for it. You know, the last thing I'm going to say, and this is a hard critique of Mayweather. You know, I did an article in the Griot less than a year ago, thegriot.com, I'm pulling it up. Floyd Mayweather's All Lives Matter stance shows how removed he is from black economic reality. And you had this statement by Mayweather that I believe went to the core of not only his own apolitical like stance in terms of politics, but also like more largely what we see from a lot of black celebrities until they do something that can't hurt their brand. And so like you see this reality where Floyd Mayweather's All Lives Matter stance kind of comes out, and he tells the Boxing Voice recently that his sport taught him that people who back Black Lives Matter should learn to follow directions and follow order. Don't give nobody a hard time. So now you have Mayweather, a guy who is at the apex of the little black wealth we have, giving this message to a larger black America about Black Lives Matter, you know. And I believe it really is so problematic. You know, I did a small section I'll share with you from the article. I'll pull it up. Mayweather, now among the richest celebrities in the world, absolutely did it his way and deserves the profits from his boxing matches. But it cannot be understated that he also did it commercializing a black male image outside of boxing that was far from the order following type he now prescribes. He in many ways set a model of doing everything but following the orders. Money May, as he likes to be called, sold black rebellion, sold hip-hop, and in many ways he packaged and sold the core experiences of those black males most vulnerable and in need of protection of Black Lives Matter. How ironic. Now Mayweather must be forced to understand what he owes black America for using so much of his identity in his quest to make money. If he chooses not to understand, he must be held to answer to the consequences of doing so without grasping the need for Black Lives Matter as a movement by his staunchest supporters, black people. This is like the give-take. We support you, you support us. You use dynamics of like being mistreated. When the match is over, you gotta be there for black people when Black Lives Matter happens. It can't be, you know, blue lives, all lives, everybody matters, and just follow the orders after you get your money. And so, you know, so much of this match, you know, that's gonna happen tonight is the hype around it. We can only hope that the match itself actually somewhat holds up to the fervor, given the dynamic of the extreme difference in expertise and boxing. I don't know if it will. But I just wanted to come to you and give you kind of the racial context, give you some articles to kind of check out to get some context on this thing so you know what you're watching and you can question even why you're watching it yourself to better yourself. This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks. Please subscribe, donate at tonetalks.org. Thank you.